What is up, guys? Today I thought I would try streaming, given that it's become an impossibility for me to do so these days. And today I noticed that Wonder Woman 1984 was trending, and it was due to the fact that I guess the early screenings had been done and people were commenting about it, talking about it. And I'm like, great, everybody says it's good. I don't see why, if the first movie was good, why the sequel would not be good. But it reminded me of a conversation that my boyfriend and I had a few nights ago. And he was saying that out of the blue, he said something like, you know what's something that really bothers me about superhero movies? Action sequences. And it's because you have Wonder Woman, for instance, and you have some average ass humans just putting up a fight against her. And this is the character who is supposed to have superhuman powers, godlike powers, even. And this is someone who has extreme stamina, extreme strength, all these extreme things. Why is she not one punching her way through all of these enemies? And I said, oh my God, yes, I have always wondered that. Same thing with people like Superman and all these superheroes that we know have all this excellent power. And somehow, average humans are able to sort of delay their progress. And I'm just trying to understand why. It's almost like the people who make movies do not understand the power of the character they're writing the movie about. But at the same time, what I was saying was, well, would you really want to see a movie in which your main character is one punching their way through everything, any earth force that's against them? Is that really what you want to see? Or would you rather see some scene where they are experiencing the human forces sort of slowing them down, like obstacles, and then they have to deal with that, but it builds up in the action. It adds watch time to the movie, I guess. But at the same time, I said to myself, why can you not make a movie in which they one punch their way through the average things that are clearly not threatening to them, and then work on creating enemies or assault forces that actually can sort of compete against the power of this superhero. But I also understand that within the movie, let's say that you want to use nuclear weapons. You cannot just summon nuclear weapons over, let's say, New York, because remember, this is the country that cannot be shown falling or getting bombed or, stuff like that. It always has to be on foreign lands or whatever, another planet, something like that. But it was interesting that he was saying that because I wish that I could be more excited about superhero movies, but I often tend not to be. And it's because of little things like that. It's because I feel like what I have gotten to see in video games, in cartoons, in animated series, all those things, it entertains me more than live action movies because I feel like live action movies tend to like really come short about details like that to the point that it disappoints me. And I'm like, why would I want to watch, say, an X-Men movie when my X-Men characters are going to be really weak? Like nothing too impressive except for that Logan movie. I think that movie was pretty nice. And I remember Days of Future Past was nice. But when it comes to the power of these characters based on the little bit that I happen to know about them from reading synopsis about the comics, I'm thinking we are really, really wasting some talent, potential, and time here. And then another thing that we mentioned that annoys us about particularly alien movies, which, if you think about it, a lot of superheroes are extraterrestrials. For some reason, they happen to just fucking know English. The only franchise that I can think of that has gotten it right to the point that it's satisfactory is Star Wars. You know, you watch Star Wars and you know that it's a movie that takes place on a place outside of Earth. It's like you never know which planet is supposed to be our Earth in those extraterrestrial planets. Like, there's no such thing. Everyone has their own language, culture, the alien races, they're all individuals. They all have their alien race languages. Like, you know, there's the Jawa language, there's that, even the droids have their own stupid language here and there. But how come these people always know English? And if I think about it critically, of course, no one would want to sit through a Star Wars movie and have to rely on reading dialogue with, like, the subtitles. The occasional subtitle here and there is okay and appropriate, not overdone. But really, you're telling me that every single movie ever where there's characters who come from another planet, like say Thor coming from Asgard, you're telling me that the Asgardian language happens to be English. At least do like Metal Gear. If you guys ever played that and you remember Metal Gear Solid 3, apparently the entire game is happening in Russian. But you don't know that. The only way you know that is from a cutscene in which this Sokolov scientist tells Snake, your Russian is superb. Where did you learn to speak it? And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean Russian? This conversation is taking place in English, but the way it was explained, I don't know where this was explained, but I just know that this is what I learned about this, is that Snake happens to be skilled in multiple languages. And since he understands and speaks Russian, that's why we hear the soldiers speaking in English, but we are understanding Big Boss's comprehension of the Russian language. But because you understand that language, you're thinking it in English because your thoughts are in English thought, because that's your maternal language. That is cool. That makes sense. If you were to tell me Thor is speaking, I don't know, Asgardian, and then somehow you have another superhero who happens to be really good about knowing languages, you're like, this Thor person is speaking in Asgardian. Let's create some kind of device that we can utilize to communicate, and pretty much be a translator on the go. Someone on Earth has to develop this tool for like better communication with alien life. That would be cool. But the entirety of these films, you have like Tony Stark, which would be an average human, just above average because of the things that he can invent. But you have this average human going out talking to people from other planets, and they comprehend each other perfectly fine. There is absolutely no collision. But if I think about it, maybe the explanation could be that thing that Thor was saying. I think it's like 9 worlds or something that exist. And then planet Earth is one of them. Asgard is one of them. And then all that tree, so-called tree that he was telling Jane about. Maybe that's where that comes from. All of these worlds happen to be connected, and therefore we can understand the Frost people and everybody because the language that would be connecting these people would be English. But then Star Wars, though, I know that they're a completely different work of fiction. They were able to somehow implement alien languages, and we do not need an explanation for that. It is understood that these creatures are from another world, and therefore they need to have their own language, and they do have it. And when we encounter it, it's like You need to be a particularly skilled person, perhaps a nomad of some sort, to really be able to understand these people or these creatures. And maybe use the force or whatever the heck it is that happens in Star Wars. I'm not the most Star Wars savvy person. But yeah, you guys, little things like that is what get me about superhero movies, and I was wondering what you guys think. I was wondering if you guys have ever thought about that. I'm pretty sure it probably has occurred to every human ever, because, you know, you get to a certain age where you cannot help but your common sense just invades everything that you ever participate in, whether it be entertainment, movies, TVs, videos, whatever it is. And I think that's good. That's nice. I feel like if we make this be heard, perhaps the creators of this kind of content will allow for this kind of feedback to help them build and get more creative and challenge themselves, and perhaps a better product can come out. But yeah, average humans being able to put up fights with superheroes somehow and not getting one punch KO'd by characters who supposedly have the power to like shatter planets and stuff, and to exhibit, like, let's say that some explosion happens and they're able to withstand the explosion of God knows how many atomic blasts, and then this person is having trouble like taking care of an average person, as opposed to, you know, what's supposed to happen, which is this person turns into dust. Those little things is pretty much what I can think of that comes up a lot in these movies, and I'm thinking, why am I wasting my time watching this? It's all the same stuff I have watched. But anyways, you guys, I thought I would ramble about that and see if you guys have anything to add, anything to say. I'm sure that if I were to think about it more and perhaps watch a movie right now, more things would come up. But that is particularly the one thing that really comes up that it really frustrates me a bit. And it doesn't take away from the enjoyment, but I'm just saying that it almost makes the might of the main character a little less believable. But anyway. All right, guys, that's it from me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon.